Why people regret moving to Las Cruces and how to avoid it. So, most people who regret moving to Las Cruces didn't choose the wrong house, they chose the wrong expectations. They assumed that Las Cruces was just going to be a smaller version of wherever they came from, a mini Phoenix, a budget Denver, a quieter Dallas. And that's exactly where everything goes wrong. Las Cruces is not a scaled down version of anywhere. It has its own pace, its own culture, its own way of doing things. And that pace is slower. But slower doesn't mean boring. It means different. It means we're more outdoorsy, more laid back, more of what I'd call almost like a New Mexican hippie way of life. I don't know what else to call it. If you understand that going in, you're probably going to love it here. If you don't, you might be the person calling me 6 months later wondering what happened. So let's talk about it. I'm Elaine. I'm a realtor here in Las Cruces, and I've lived in this city for over 30 years. But this is also home for me. I was born and raised here. But I've also lived in California, and I've lived in Florida. So I'm not just a local who's never seen anything else. I know what people are leaving behind when they come here. And my whole thing is telling you the truth, even if it means talking you out of moving here. So let's get into the 6 things that catch people off guard. Regret number 1, expecting the same entertainment and nightlife options you had before. This is the one I hear most from people coming out of larger metros. They get here, they unpack, and then they start looking for things to do. And the list is shorter than what they expected. The nightlife here is very limited. The restaurant scene, of course, exists, and there are genuinely great spots, but you're not going to have the same volume of options you had in a major city. And the city winds down early. 10 o'clock at night, things are pretty quiet. That's just the reality. So if your ideal Saturday night involves bottle service at 1 a.m. and a different rooftop bar every weekend, I'm going to be honest with you. This is probably not your city. I have 3 or 4 restaurants, depending on what I'm in the mood for, that I rotate, and I very often do not deviate from those. So if I want to, get dressed up and go somewhere different, that's why I go to El Paso once in a while to get different food, a lot prettier drinks than what we serve here, and I get to dress up. But don't expect that here in Cruces. But here's the reframe. Las Cruces is a hiking city, a golfing city, a winery city, a sit on the patio with a good glass of wine and watch the sunset kind of city. The entertainment here is slower and more intentional. And for a lot of people, once they stop comparing it to what they left, that becomes exactly what they were looking for without even knowing it. This is completely coming from a person that is a homebody, okay? I like to go home. I like to relax. I like to enjoy my views. I like to drink my wine out in the backyard and watch my mountains. And I even prefer bringing my dinner home than going out. I really do not go out very much, and I'm fine with that. That is why we love to vacation. Do I love leaving Las Cruces to travel? Yes, absolutely. Do I want to move and live in another place? Nope, I don't. I really do truly love living here in Las Cruces. The people who struggle with this are the ones who need constant stimulation and a packed social calendar. The people who thrive are the ones who are actually wanting to slow down and the ones that have given themselves permission to do it so. Regret number 2, families with kids. Sometimes they have the greatest adjustment. This one doesn't get talked about enough. Retirees and remote workers tend to adapt to Las Cruces a lot easier because of the lifestyle. It already matches what they want. But families with young kids sometimes hit a wall. There are fewer organized activities, fewer entertainment options, specifically built around kids. fewer of the big city infrastructure, things that parents in a large metros take for granted. You have to be more intentional here. You have to be way more creative, more willing to build your own routine rather than just plug into an existing one. Now, families who like parks and sports and backyard time and slower schedule overall tend to do very well in this place. The adjustment period is a lot shorter because the lifestyle already fits how they live. But if you have kids and you're used to a full calendar of activities, classes, weekend events, going in knowing that you're going to have to build that yourself is doable. Plenty of families do it. Just don't be surprised when it's not just handed to you. Stay up to date on Facebook events, and just seeing what is going on around the city can go a very long way here. We don't have locations like Dave and Buster's. My family and I love going to Dave and Buster's. We have one in El Paso. We don't have a location here, but we know that if there's stuff going on in the city, like we have festivals, the city puts on things for like Easter, for summer events, for St. Patrick's Day, things like that. There is a lot of stuff to do. It's just having to find these things. It's just a matter of looking for it. Regret number 3. The desert climate truly catches people completely off guard. So everyone thinks about the heat, and yes, the heat is real here. Las Cruces summers are hot. We're talking triple digits in June, July, probably into August. If you're coming from a coastal climate and you've never experienced the dry heat desert, the first summer can feel like a shock. The only thing that I can compare it to is like opening up the oven from your stove and just letting that heat hit you. That's exactly how the heat during the summer feels here in Las Cruces. But we don't have the humidity. But the thing that people don't expect is the wind and the dust storms. Spring in Las Cruces can be seriously windy. And when that wind kicks up the dust, you need to experience it to really understand it. Once in a while, it may be dangerous for driving, but for the most part, it's really not. It's just part of the desert life. Nobody seems to talk about it much in relocation videos, so I did want to mention it. If you tend to suffer from like allergies and stuff, that wind can be a real pain in the ass. Here's the flip side though. No snow. Maybe 1 or 2 days a year. Mild winters. 300 days of sunshine. Some of the most genuinely stunning sunsets you will ever see in your life, year round. And if you spend any time in a place where winter drags on for 4 or 5 months, you know what that's worth. I always tell people, come visit in June or July before you commit. Walk outside at 2 in the afternoon and just stand there. If you can handle that and still say yes, you're ready. If it breaks you, better to find out before you move your entire life here. And honestly, you don't fully appreciate not shoveling snow until you're watching everyone else post their frozen driveways. In February, while you're sitting outside in a light jacket, one thing I do love is the beautiful mid-afternoons in Las Cruces during the winter. Get a little bit of sun on your back. Oh my God, it feels amazing with a nice cold breeze. All right, let's move on to regret number 4. Assuming the job market here is the same as where you came from. It's not. And this one matters a lot. Wages in Las Cruces are generally lower than in larger metro areas. The job market is a lot smaller. So if you're relocating and planning to find work after you land, that needs to be part of your research before you move, not something you figure out once you're already here. The relocations that go the smoothest are almost always people who are coming in with either a job already lined up, a remote income that travels with them, or a retirement plan that doesn't depend on the local job market. Retirees and remote workers have the highest success rate in the city for a reason. This isn't necessarily a deal breaker. It's just something to plan for. The cost of living here is low enough that your dollars go significantly further, which helps offset the wage difference, but you need to go in with your financial picture already sorted. Don't move here and then figure out the income piece. Do it the other way around because it truly does matter. Regret number 5. realizing that some things require a trip to El Paso. Las Cruces is its own city, but it's not a full-service major metro. Certain specialists, certain stores, certain entertainment options are going to send you down to El Paso, and that's about a 45-minute trip. For some people, that's a total non-issue. I really don't mind. For others, especially coming from cities where everything was about 10 minutes away, it takes some getting used to. But here's some honest perspective though. For daily life, we have groceries, errands, restaurants, most medical needs. Everything in Las Cruces is 10 to 15 minutes away. The city is easy to get around, no major traffic, no 45-minute commutes to get across town or stuck in bumper to bumper traffic on the highway. Think about what it's like to live in a big city. You might drive 45 minutes and still be in the same metro area stuck in traffic, going nowhere. Here, that same 45 minutes gets you to a completely different city with a full international airport. The El Paso airport is actually a great airport too. It's easy to navigate, it's easy to park, it's easy to get in and out of. Once people figure out that travel is still very manageable from here, this one stops feeling like a downside pretty quick. And I don't think a lot of us stop to appreciate just how great, even though it's super small after you've been in Dallas or Georgia or California airports where it takes you so long to get from one place to the other. Having such a small airport, it's international, is so cool, so amazing. All right, regret number 6, the pace of life is slower than they expected, and they weren't ready for it. This one is subtle, and it's one people feel the most awkward admitting because it's not about amenities or weather or logistics. It's just about feeling like you don't quite fit in yet. Las Cruces has a very distinct culture. It's heavily shaped by New Mexican and Hispanic heritage. Service moves at a different pace than what most people from major cities are used to. Things are way more relaxed, less rushed, more community oriented. And for people who are wired for a faster, more transactional environment, that adjustment period can feel genuinely disorienting at first. Like you're moving through a different gear than everyone else around you. And here's what I've watched happen over and over though. Las Cruces grows on people, but you have to let it. You can't spend your first year frustrated that things don't move the way they did where you came from. The people who do best here are the ones who wanted something quieter without fully admitting it. They wanted to stop feeling rushed. They wanted to know their neighbors. They wanted local restaurants where the staff actually recognizes them because, you go in there often or you see them at other places. They want a life that feels less complicated overall. That's Las Cruces. And once people settle into that, a lot of them never want to go back to the way that things were. Okay, I want to make sure this video doesn't sound like a list of warnings because here's the other side of the story. The people who thrive in Las Cruces, they absolutely love it here, and I hear from them constantly. Retirees who stretched their retirement savings further than they thought possible. Remote workers who traded an expensive apartment in a loud city for a house with a backyard and mountain views. People who rediscovered hiking and golf and wine and sunsets and just generally like being outside. People who feel like they actually have a community. Neighbors who know their names, local spots they're regulars at, a pace of life that doesn't leave them exhausted at the end of the week. And if you're someone who values affordability, if you want to be outdoors regularly, if you like to golf and you like to go wine hopping or hiking or just sitting on a patio and not being rushed, Las Cruces is genuinely hard to beat when it comes to all of that. If you're tired of traffic, if the cost of living is eating your quality of life alive, if you want your day-to-day to feel a lot simpler and less stressful, this city has a way of delivering exactly that. The people who regret it came here with the wrong expectations. The people who love it came knowing that they were choosing, and that difference is everything. So here's the biggest takeaway from everything I just told you. Research the lifestyle, not just the homes. The square footage and the price points are easy part. What you're really deciding is how you want your days to feel, what pace you want to live at, what trade-offs you're willing to make, and whether the version of life that Las Cruces offers is actually the one you want. And if you're thinking about making the move and you want honest, straight answers about the neighborhoods, the lifestyle, what areas would fit your situation, or just whether the city makes sense for where your life is at right now, please reach out. My email and my phone number are in the description. I put out honest content about this city. I really want the people that live here to love it here because I know that I do. But I also know that there's a lot of people that don't like living here. And I wouldn't want that to be the case for you if you have spent your whole life working to end up in a place that you don't absolutely love. I put out honest content about the city every single week because I think people deserve the full picture before they make one of the biggest decisions of their lives. I'll see you in the next one.